Alright, what's going on YouTube? Thank you guys so much for coming back and watching my spoiler review for X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, this is a warning. I am going to spoil a lot that happens in X-Men Days of Future Past. So if you haven't seen the film, one, go see the film because it's amazing. And then two, come back and watch my spoiler review or watch my non-spoiler review first. Anyway, watch the videos. Alright, so let's jump right into Days of Future Past. Alright, so at the beginning of Days of Future Past, we are in the future. I believe 2055 is the year. And, you know, the world is just wrecked. It's completely destroyed. It's dark. It's just crazy. And then for like all over the world, like I think they went to like New York or Chicago or in China and Moscow, and the world is just dark and just completely wiped out. And you see these things flying through the sky, and with this carrying the Sentinels. And I guess when they drop them down, and they have the Sentinels like search the world to try to find mutants that they haven't captured already. So then we come to a group of young X-Men or whatever, and they have this one X-Men who I can't think of his name, but he's the one that notices when the Sentinels are coming. So then the Sentinels come and they get into this big fight, and it looks like they're winning at first, and then all of a sudden all the X-Men just get destroyed, and then Kitty Pryde is about to get destroyed too, and then they go back in time like a couple days. And then that's when we come to Professor X and Magneto and Storm and Wolverine, and they come to this place where they meet all the other X-Men. And even though they send Wolverine back in time, they were actually going to send Professor X back in time. But Kitty Pryde tells him that, hey, I can send people back in time for like days or weeks, but the 1970s, you're talking about a decade. That's a lot on your. That's gonna be a lot on your mind. That's gonna tear you apart. So then Wolverine says, what if someone can heal from being torn apart? So then that's when they come up with the idea to send Wolverine back in time to the 1970s to, stop all of this from happening. All right, boom. So we get in the 1970s. Wolverine is there. He goes to see Charles Xavier, which at this point in his life, he's at the lowest of the low. Even though he can walk, and the reason why he can walk is because Beast made him like some kind of serum that allows him to walk, but he has to lose his powers. And I think it works for like maybe like a couple of hours or maybe like a couple of days, but it's not permanent because his powers come back once he doesn't. I think he doesn't take the serum for a long time. His powers start to come back, and he starts to hear all the mutants in his head and stuff, and he can't be able to walk. So then the reason why they send Wolverine back in time is because Mystique kills Bolivar Trask, which I guess you could say he was the villain, but he didn't really do any villainy stuff to me. Like, he wasn't like a badass villain. Like, he was just there. Like, Peter Dinklage played the part, don't get me wrong. He did a good job, but it felt like Bolivar Trask wasn't villainy enough for me in this film. But yeah, Mystique kills him one day, and then that's when they capture her and get her DNA, and they use her. They figure out her transformation, how she transforms into other people, and then they use that and they create the Sentinels with it, and so the Sentinels can counteract with other mutants' powers and basically get the best of them. So that's why they send Wolverine back in time to stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask, and just starting this whole war or whatever. And so when we catch up with Magneto, we learn that he's been blamed for the assassination of JFK, but because of the whole bent and curved bullet thing and everything like that. And I thought they were. I can't remember if I said this in my non-spoiler review, but I thought they would have thrown in like a Wanted reference with like the whole curved and bent bullet and stuff like that. But in Magneto's defense, he was trying to help JFK because JFK was one of them. And another thing that we learned from Days of Future Past is like all of the X-Men, like most of the X-Men from First Class are dead. Banshee, like the guy that screams and could fly and stuff, and Azazel, the red dude, Emma Frost, like the diamond chick, and the black chick with the wings who went bad at the end. They're all dead because Bolivar Trask was experimenting on mutants to trying to figure out their powers and how to figure out how to get them to work with the Sentinel, to making the Sentinels, counteract with other mutants' powers. So, and another thing that I forgot to mention in my spoiler review, in my non-spoiler review, excuse me, was I didn't see the reason why Bolivar Trask, like he didn't like mutants. Like, what was his whole beef with mutants? They didn't really explain that to me, or maybe I missed it. I don't know, but I don't think they really explained like what was his beef was with mutants, like why he didn't like mutants or whatever. And and then the ending, like the pretty much the ending of the movie, it was amazing. Like everything is right where it's supposed to be. Jean Grey is back. Cyclops is back. Rogue is back. She had some scenes in the movie, but they got cut out. But she was at the end. And then I saw a video when I came home last night that was insinuating that Kitty Pryde and Colossus was gonna be, or they're gonna be in a relationship together. So that was cool to see. All of the X-Men, Storm, all of the X-Men is back together. So I can't wait to see how this comes together in X-Men Apocalypse. So yeah, that was pretty much everything spoilery that I could think of that happened in X-Men Days of Future Past. What an amazing film this was. Like I said, even though they didn't really explain, why Boulevard Trask, didn't like mutants or anything like that, or he just wasn't. I don't consider him a villain. I don't really consider him a villain in this because he wasn't a badass villain in this. So, but other than that, still 10 out of 10. I love the movie. Go see X-Men Days of Future Past. It was an amazing film. Alright, so that was my spoiler review for X-Men Days of Future Past. I'll see you guys on my next video. Alright, peace.